And welcome back. Joining us for our final conversation are the folks from the Itz'at STEAM Academy. In studio, we have here in the middle Mr. Lionel Palacio, and he is the Digital Art and Maker Space KLA teacher. We have to his left the Vice Principal and Science and Technology KLA teacher, Ms. Christine Koch. And to his right is Counselor at the Itz'at STEAM Academy, Ms. Shanda Caniquie. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen. So Itz'at has relatively opened their doors a year ago to the public of Belize. Let's talk about some of the programs that you already have ongoing and what you are planning to offer in the coming year.
So I could take that on.
Yeah.
Currently we have, so we're a STEAM school, and our focus is on science, technology, engineering, art, and math. But in our weekly schedule, we have 10 subjects. We have quantitative reasoning, Belizean studies, science and technology, digital art, fine art, maker space, sustainable development projects, physical education, and something we call seminars, and also Belizean studies. So that's how those are the courses that we offer at Itz'at.
Wow. Please, somebody explain to me what Makerspace is.
Perfect. I'm the guy for that.
So, first, I want to let you guys know that Itz'at really have the facilities. In this case, we have some spaces. Maker Space is one. And this is one of the spaces that students get to go in and actually do some prototyping. They learn how to measure properly, cut properly. These are basic things. And they move on to the advance of programming and coding, and also work with some CNC machines. And I could break that down. Basically, it's just 3D printing and using the laser cutter and vinyl cutter. So we're not just bringing out students doing basic presentations. Like, you want something to work, excuse me, get in there, you build it. So the maker space is anything that you can think about. You get in that space. We have the machines, we have the tools, we have the materials. You get in there and you build your stuff. Sky's the limit.
Wow.
Nice. Let's talk about where you guys are in terms of the student population and how well they've taken to this new presentation.
So we opened, like you said, September 2023, and we started off with 63 lovely students. And you know, sometimes I have focus groups, so I would have like 7 of them, and I'd say, how's Itz'at? You know, how do you like? Like, I like it. I like Belizean studies. I like that's my favorite, digital art, because we use SketchUp to create cafeterias and so forth. And I would ask them, you know, just to find out how they really feel. I said, what do you think about transferring to another school? How would you feel about that? And the answer was, why would I do that? You know, because they really love it here. And I think one of the persons who have taken on that lead in terms of social, emotional, cultural learning at our school is Ms. Caniquie. She has something, and I will let her speak on it. It's called SECL Weeks, where we don't have any courses, but we focus on topics. And the students, they get to do several activities together as a school, because we're a small school, so they do it together. And so they bond really well with each other. They have respect. They understand, you know, discipline, manners, and to help out each other, collaboration. So she can speak a little bit more on SECL Weeks.
So SECL is basically an entire week where I have the privilege of having these lovely students, and we have different topics. Our first SECL weeks were focusing on bullying, and so we created a team, and our team was It's Not a Joke, Bullying Hurts. And with that team, we had different topics and presenters that came and gave them real life scenarios and so forth. Our second one we had was it's My Choice, My Body, My Choice, My Future, and we talk about hygiene, puberty. So it's aimed to give that student that holistic view. In the past, as high school students, we didn't have that. And so at Itz'at, we found that that was most necessary. So build our students so that when they leave from there, it's not only academics, but also they have that life skill that they can take throughout the life.
It's very holistic.
How do you look at growing this school in terms of the programs that are being offered that are perhaps attractive enough for other students to enroll at Itz'at?
So currently, those are the subjects that we have. In third and fourth farm, we're looking at career pathways. Some that I can think about off the top of my head. It's still in the making, still in progress. We have data science. We have agro-processing and agriculture. We have information technology. We have engineering and health. So those would be career pathways that our students would then venture into when they come into third and fourth farm. At this point in time, in first and second form, we're preparing them. We're giving them, like Mr. Palacio said, the foundational, the basics, you know, letting them learn how to cut. And it's not, although it sounds very simple, it is not simple. You know, he taught me the other day how to use a cutter and the board, and he's like, you have to hold it this way. And I was like, okay, so there is actually a skill, and that's what we do at Itz'at. We build skills. It's a hands-on school. So we're not just going to be teaching you theory, but we're going to have you build something, and in that process, then you learn the theory.
Itz'at STEAM, kind of embodying and embracing STEM and arts. It's the first of its kind in the region, right? So how are you all taking certain curriculum from other parts of the world and embedding it into this academy?
So we work closely with MIT, and we have spent months and many sleepless nights looking at different schools in the U.S. who focus in STEM education, and they've done this. You know, we're just starting, but they've been doing this for 15, 20 years. And so we look at different examples, and because we are Belizean, then we cater it to our Belizean students, also taking into consideration the national curriculum. So when you look at our Miro board and all the things that we have to connect to ensure that we are still teaching the national curriculum, because we have that obligation, but also how can we push the boundaries and take what other schools have been doing abroad and bring it into what we need to do at Itz'at. So that's how we go about building our curriculum.
What has been, and I know the government of Belize, primarily the Ministry of Education, has been instrumental in its support. What has been that relationship with the ministry in terms of being able to implement these programs that you have?
Implement them in school or
Yes.
in the rest of the country?
In schools, and perhaps with a view to expand to the rest of the
So
country.
again, it's not in my scope to talk about what the ministry intends for the rest of the country, but I know there have been some discussion about having, like building a center in, I think it's each one of the districts, and they've selected some schools, and so that's currently in the runnings to happen. The ministry works with us very closely. Whenever we have discussions and meetings, they are present. So it's, all stakeholders are involved, the ministry, MIT, Itz'at, and the educators. So yes, so that's how closely we work together.
So you are, we're talking about the programs and the things that you offer at Itz'at. You have your first group, your first cohort of 60 students that are going to move up into, I guess, second form, right? What would they have to look forward to in second form, and then what do you expect, or what can the new cohort expect of Itz'at this coming year?
So maybe Mr. Palacio.
All right. So when students get into Itz'at at the first year, we have something that is called SIM, and what we do is basically we culture the students. We have students coming from different aspects, different background, and what we want to do is to make sure they have that view. We want to unify the view to let them know this is where we are, this is who we are, and this is where we need to go, where we need to be. And during that 5 weeks of SIM, we teach some counseling stuff. We do some of the academic stuff. But basically what we do with our first farm is for them to learn how to be, how to STEAMify everything, how to be a student at Itz'at. When they move over to second farm, it's a little bit more intense, because in first farm it's a little bit more teacher guided. They have that freedom, but we guide them because they're learning, we're molding them. We're giving them that responsibility, we're giving them the basic the core values and so forth. So when they move over to second farm, they have a little bit more freedom to venture a little bit more. And so we always have these adjustments happening, and having it be in the first year, it has its challenge, but nothing that we can't handle. We're learning, we're adjusting, we're making it better.
I think one of the questions that's perhaps being asked out there, so as April mentioned, this is your first cohort of about 60-something students. How do kids get in for first farm next year, at the beginning of the next school year? What's that process going to be like for them?
Okay, so let me start it off. Today, actually, we come on the show and we're launching our recruitment campaign. We're going to be visiting our first school, All Saints Primary School today. And what happens is we go paperless. So we have our website, www.itz'at.edu.bz. And when you visit the website, you'll see a tab that says apply. When you open up the tab, you get all the information. So the deadline for applications is April 5th. That's when we stop accepting applications. You will get a response perhaps before May 2024 that you've been accepted. Those who are not accepted, they go on a waiting list. And then, it's $50. Once you get accepted, you have to pay $50 for the application fee and then $550 for the registration. So that is the process. All you need to do is you go onto the website, hit the button, click apply, and then you have all the questions that the website asks for, your name, your standard 6 report card, and etc. So there's a lot of things that you need to fill out. And then you just click submit and you wait for us to email you back that you either have been accepted or you go on a waiting list.
So when people hear about Itz'at, they feel like it's a high-end school in terms of the technological advancement and the availability of stuff. But knowing that you can apply for free, that's one. Knowing that you register, your registration is $50, and knowing that your tuition is $550, it's like all of this for that. It's a whole lot.
I was just gonna ask how much is it to apply, and then you basically answered that question. It's free.
And I think one of the things too is we're strong in being inclusive and accepting people from various backgrounds. And one of our goals is to have 50% males and 50% females. We want the females to thrive in STEM and STEAM at Itz'at. So,
Wow. So your application deadline, one more time, is
April 5th.
April 5th. You begin your registration campaign, your recruitment campaign today. So other schools can look forward to seeing you and your T-shirts very soon.
Yes. So if you have a child between the ages of 11 to 14, if they were born, let me see, the date is July 31st, 2010. If they were born after that, then you have a higher chance of getting accepted. We only have 75 spaces, so it's not...
How many?
75 spaces. 75 spaces.
Wow. I am very excited to see how this academy continues to grow. I've not heard of some of the classes before, and that's why I'm intrigued, because what is makerspace? I don't but it's interesting to see how you apply all of these different elements of STEAM and STEM into your curriculum. So I wish you all the best. And counseling.
Right.
And okay, so we talked about the cohort of students, but how many members of your staff are at Itz'at? How many people teach?
So we have 5 teachers. In total, we have 12 staff.
12 staff.
But we have 5 teachers.
And if I don't want staff, I could get free counseling.
Most definitely.
Just needed to check
also,
that one.
Counseling is also open to parents too.
Oh, wow.
So we haven't done it as yet, but coming up we are having parenting sessions because we believe in including our parents so that we can, if our parents are being reached, then definitely we'll have a smooth sailing with our students.
Very, very true. Nice. Wow.
I want to kind of touch on the spaces that we have.
Sure.
So even though at the end of the day we have a nice set of buildings, that's a dream, right? So we have what we call the maker. We talk about that, the maker space, very spacious building, AC as well. We also have a science lab. We also have a studio and fine art studio with a recording studio in the back.
Yeah.
We also have a digital art studio. So that's 4 major spaces there. We have the classrooms, there are like 12 classrooms, and we do have like open spaces, or what we call quiet space or meeting room, where students, if you have work to do and you need that quiet space, with the permission, you could go in there and get your work done, for the AC and everything. So we're trying to make sure that not only having the basic classroom setting, but more, because our students and Belizeans deserve more. And having equipped stuff and have all of these spaces for them, it allows them to be themselves, allow them to have a space where they can be safe, where they could learn, where they belong.
Wonderful. Applications for the Itz'at STEAM Academy is available now at www.itzat.edu.bz. Apply today before April 5th. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Best of luck with your recruitment. We hope we get your 75 students. Well, I know you'll get your 75 students.
Quite easily.
Quite easily. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, too.